To you live this beautiful Sunday morning. I think we're live on both places. It's such a sunny day. Happy Sunday. It's 55 degrees here. I don't know if you can see. We do have a little bit of a, I hate to do, there we go. We got a little fire going. It's a fireside chat. You know how I love those. I hope you have your coffee. Look, this the first fire of fall. That's an alliteration right there. Okay, I hope everything is working out here. I'm trying to double it up, right? So I've got Instagram, we've got YouTube. I want to make sure everybody has access to all of our lovely coffee chats. And I wish you were all sitting around the fire with me right now, giving me your opinions about what is really on your mind. I'm ready to make this even more interactive. A lot of you have sent me private messages, but I'd love to have more dialogue while we're in the midst of these topics. Today's topic, I asked you and you responded. And the feedback I got this morning when I had 15 ideas just going through my head was the very first person who responded. There were quite a few, so now we have a list of topics. The first person that responded said, I love, they sent me a DM as well, but they're like, I love listening to Coffee with NICOA because you're always sharing with us real experiences that you're having and your own self-reflection, right? We're always observing ourselves about life. And their question this morning was, what is authenticity? And how do I know what my authentic self is? Like, how do I really know? Am I being authentic? Is this who I really am? And I always invite people to ask themselves, when you ask the question, who am I? I mean, let's just do that for a moment. Who are you? Who are you? And a couple of things came up over the last few weeks that this makes for the perfect question because I had a siblings weekend with my older brothers. They're 8 and 4.5 years ahead of me in life, multiple generations, right? And one night we had this big debate. We were all discussing things like politics and opinions about life. And, each one of us is pretty strong-willed and outgoing and assertive. Really. And so I noticed that we all really wanted to be heard. So each of us was really kind of getting a little louder, a little more assertive. And with every glass of beer or wine, it got a bit, it was a bit intense, as most family dialogues or bantering or debates can be. And I remember going to sleep that night, and this ties back to authenticity. And as I somewhat, I was quite fatigued after that, energized and loved, but fatigued. And I thought to myself as I fell asleep on the pillow, who are we without our opinions? Who are you without your opinions? Right? So, no opinions, it is you. Who is that? That is the authentic you, right? Who are you without an opinion of another person? Who are you without an opinion of yourself? Now, I'm not saying opinions are bad. I'm just saying, I think that's the essence. I think that's the essence of who we are. Now, one element of the person's recommendation to talk about this, she said to me, what if I don't like who I am? What if I'm not really sure who I am and I'm afraid that I don't like who I am? And I said, that's not the authentic self. The person you're judging, the identity or your way of being that you're judging, that's not the authentic self. The authentic self was born knowing that they are whole, that they deserve food, they deserve attention, they deserve light, they deserve anything they want. Where do you think a small child's words of mine, mine, mine come from? They deserve. They're in a space of, I deserve to be here. I am worthy of your attention. I am worthy for you to pick me up and feed me, clothe me, take care of me. And that is the authentic self. Now, I'm not saying, so you might be extrapolating, right? Well, let me extrapolate a baby's behavior, an unlearned state of behavior, and say, how can that be the authentic self really? Because we have to live in this world and interact with each other. But I do believe that the deservedness is the authentic piece. The deservedness is what I invite you to come back to. Number one, you were born deserving. You were born enough. That's authentic. Number two, the authentic self is one that doesn't hesitate or hide. If there's some behavior of yours that you hide, or you're embarrassed about. I'll give you a very simple example. In a certain point in my life, I can recall either my children or my husband coming into the room, and I might be doing something silly or like vegging out on the phone, or playing a video game like I used to do to just take a break, as most of us do. And I can remember people in my family coming into the room, and I would quickly turn the phone off and be available to them. That's not authentic. That's me carrying everybody else around at all times. That's not the me that in that moment, the truth of it was I wanted to be playing that video game. And yet my authentic self was here. But then what's my role? Oh, what do I have to do next? Who needs me? And that was a role, an identity, and a judgment. The judgment was, you shouldn't be sitting here playing on the phone. You need to take care of your family. Now, my family wasn't in any way in need. I did choose to have kids. I did choose to be married. I do have an obligation and a commitment I chose. So I'm not saying to ignore that. The authentic self, though, allows yourself, it allows me to sit there for 5 minutes and play the video game without judging it, without second guessing it, without thinking just because somebody walks into the room that I have to stop, I have to turn on, right? So this is NICOA's version of authenticity. So one, deservingness. Two, continuing to be you in any moment without carrying everybody else constantly based on what you've decided is your job. And I use the word constantly as a common theme here. One, deservingness. Two, being yourself when you need to be yourself. And number three, I really think it's speaking your truth and sitting in the knowing that that truth is yours and is enough. So even in those debates with my brothers, I can remember I was flashing back to my younger days when I was a little girl sitting at this dining room table right in here at the Sound House. And I was so much younger, and my father used to have nice debates and dialogues with my older brothers who could understand bigger topics, if you will. And I remember once being, maybe I was 4 or 5, and my father and brothers were talking, and he said, "That's a good point, Weston. That's a good point, Joey." And my sweet little self, wanting to be included, said, "I want to make a point. I want a point." My dad tells the story that I was quite assertive in my need to make a point and to be included and connected. And when I fast forwarded, 45 years to the siblings weekend we had in the mountains last weekend, I felt that little girl in me wanting to have a point, because I was still telling my point over and over and over again. And I thought, wait a minute. In reflection this morning, I thought, you know what? My authenticity was to share my point and to sit in that knowing that that was enough. And I didn't have to have a point. I didn't have to push my point. I didn't have to force my point. And that's not authentic. That's like, I don't trust me. I don't believe in me. So I have to prove it to you to get you to validate it for me so then I can feel whole, right? Well, don't forget, I'm already deserving. I was already born enough. I'm already whole. And it's okay, number two, for me to do whatever it is I feel like doing in the moment without carrying everybody else's needs or opinions. If I am authentic and that's my belief and I choose to share it, then I can let it go. Because if I truly do know that that is who I am and that's my belief system, then why am I working so hard to try to change your opinion when the truth is that's yours. That's your authentic belief system. Now, I'm not telling you not to take action. If you think something needs to change, that's different. That's behavior, conscious choice. I'm going to go vote. I'm going to go write a letter to Congress. I'm going to go do whatever. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do things towards making change because that's something I believe in. Having said that, authenticity is easy. Authenticity doesn't have to be forced. Going back to being your authentic self. Knowing you're deserving, doing what you want to do moment to moment without guilt, without self-judgment, and trusting that your belief system is yours and is enough. And it's okay to have your opinion. That's authentic. That's easy. That, my friend, is authenticity from the Coffee with NICOA perspective. What do you think? And I miss you too, friends. I see you guys on there. I appreciate you following. Please share your comments below and forward this to anybody you think needs to remember that being their authentic self is okay. And they get to choose their way of being in any way, shape, or form. I love you guys. Thanks for following. We'll talk again soon. If I can figure out how to turn it off. I never do this. Love you guys.